Hey everybody, it's Julie at the Luna site giving you a heads up for our 1st through 5th grade kids on Sunday, May 8th, which is Mother's Day also. So if you're a mother, happy Mother's Day. If you're not, tell your mother happy Mother's Day this Sunday. Our month is all about contentment, which is choosing to be happy with what you've got. And this week's Bible story is from the book of 1st Kings, chapter 21, and it's about King Ahab and how he desperately wanted this other man's vineyard and went to great lengths to get it and made himself miserable, wanting what somebody else had. Instead of being happy and content with what he already had, he was so focused on what he didn't have that he made himself miserable, which is our bottom line. When you focus on what you don't have, it can make you miserable. So in your first 10 minutes, the kids are going to come in and get them thinking about, is there a time like for their birthday or for Christmas when they really wanted a gift and they did not get it? And you can share a story from that too, probably from when you were a kid, but something that you really wanted and you didn't get it. And how did that make them feel? What did you say or what did you do with that? And then your first game is called If You Have, and you're going to take some construction paper is what we have available this week. So each kid can have a paper and probably use Scotch tape to tape it to the floor in front of them, and they have to stand behind their paper. Don't have them stand on the paper because it'll just rip and get all, they'll probably fall, whatever. So have them stand behind the paper, and you are going to list out things that they have. If they have the thing, which isn't really something that costs money or something that costs very little money, like if you are a big sister, if you have blue eyes, if you have brown hair, if your name starts with the letter J, something like that. You're going to list out something like that. If they have that, they have to trade places with someone else who has that. If they don't have it, they stay in their spot. After several rounds, you switch it around. If you don't have long hair, if you don't have a soccer ball, or some of the examples that they give, then you can switch places with somebody. So really, the point of the game is focusing on, we all have lots of things. Some of them are the same and some are different, and that's okay. Today in our Bible story, we're going to hear more about stuff and what we do or don't have. So just getting them thinking through that idea of what kind of stuff do we have, and it's not always the same. People have different stuff. And then you're going to introduce your Bible story, give the definition of contentment again, is deciding to be happy with what you've got. And you don't have to read what's scripted out for you. I mean, you can, but it's a little more impactful to share it in your own words, or just keep it really brief. Just say, today we're going to hear a story about someone who was so focused on someone else's stuff it made them miserable. And that's it. Okay, you're just giving them a little sneak peek at what the story is and what they need to listen for. You don't have to give them tons and tons of details. The details in here are really more for you. So as you prepare, you know what to expect. And then wrap it up at the end, just helping them remember that God doesn't want you to want other people's stuff because it will make you miserable. When you focus on what you don't have, it can make you miserable. When we focus on what we do have, and one of the most important things is God, then we can find contentment, we can find joy, we can find happiness. And there's a prayer in there for you, and go through our memory verse together, which is Philippians 4:19. I have learned the secret to being content. I don't have it memorized, I'm sorry. No matter what happens, I am content whether I am well fed or hungry. I am content whether I have more than enough or not enough. Philippians 4:12. And maybe have the kids repeat it several times. Use different voices. Have only the boys or only the girls, or break it up into groups just to make it a little more fun. But your first activity is called And I Want It Now. And it's a little review of your Bible story. You're going to take a big sheet of paper, and the kids can sit around it, and on one side have the kids draw or write all the things that King Ahab did have in the story. So maybe pull out the Bible if they're struggling to recall the things that they listed off. And then on the other side, the things that he didn't have from the Bible story. Okay, not just any old thing that kids can think of, but really the thing that he didn't have was the vineyard. And so have them draw the vineyard. And then just talk about, look at all the stuff that he did have, and there was only one thing that he didn't have. But he kept focusing on that one thing so much that it made him miserable. And talk about what should he have done to find contentment. So brainstorm, what are some things that he could have done instead of focusing on the thing that he didn't have? Just help them make that real life connection and application. And then make it personal. And here it prompts you to share a story too. Something that you wish you had that you don't. And what you do to find contentment with that. So maybe it's the examples they've given here, or maybe it's having a verse from the Bible to remind yourself, or asking a friend, or writing down 3 things every day that you are grateful for. Okay, so what are some things in your life? How have you dealt with that individually? And then the next 2, you probably only do one or the other. You won't have time for both, most likely. But the one is a craft with duct tape, and the other is a game. So some kids might be, they don't have to, maybe one volunteer does the duct tape one and one volunteer does the game, and the kids can divide with what they're more interested in. But this one is called What's in Your Wallet? So like the American Express commercial or whatever, but it uses duct tape, and we have all different kinds of, not flavors, designs. And you have instructions for how to make a duct tape wallet. Okay, I'm Craft Challenge. It looks a little intimidating to me, but really it's not too bad. You basically just layer the tape over each other and then put them back to back, and then fold it and tape it together on the ends. Okay, I will attach this to your lesson this week though, so you can take a peek at that beforehand. And then really this is what we want the kids to have their takeaway, is they have contentment cash that they can put in their wallet. Okay, so you can tell them, it says in here, I like it, it says if you find yourself pulling a King Ahab this week and focusing on what you don't have, pull out your new wallet and look at your contentment cache, and it tells them right on there what contentment is. This can remind you to be content with what you already have instead of focusing on what you don't. So a take-home practical thing that they can tactile touch and see. The other one is called Hot Sword, and we've got some foam swords, and it's just with our memory verse. The kids are going to stand in a circle. Whoever is holding the sword has to say one word of the memory verse, hand it to the next kid who says one word, the next kid who says one word, all around the circle. Okay, so it should be pretty fun. They'll probably want to play with the swords too, but that's fun too. Just keep it under control as best you can, and help them process the verse a little bit with just saying, the verse says, I have learned the secret to being content. So it's something, contentment is something you learn. It's something you have to practice. It's something that you have to work at, and it takes time to develop in yourself. It doesn't happen overnight. So encourage them that way, that it's difficult at first, but you learn and you practice and you work at it, and you get better at it as you go. And then the last one is your prayer. It's a little different this week. It's a call and response prayer. So you can read straight from the lesson, the bullets. God, thank you that we learned about contentment today. And the kids are always going to reply with the same answer. God, help me be content. And then you'll read the next one. Thank you that we have food to eat and even candy. And the kids say, God, help me be content. Okay, so a good way for them to process it and get it in their heads, get it in their hearts, and put it in their lives. Thank you for speaking into the lives of our kids this week. Thank you for caring enough for them to show up early and be here a half hour early for our Journey Kids Kickstart and pray together, praying for them and being a part of our team. We appreciate you so very much. We'll see you on Sunday.